Good morning. Thanks for joining us, and I wish you a happy Easter. We still have to, whereas you at home, we're happy about that. We have to keep the home fire burning, so we have to be here. But let's look at an important topic, away from politics for a while. Let's look into civil order. And here I'm talking about the drug plague that's affecting, not to say infecting, the entire world. In Africa, in Nigeria, we have our issues as well. But then the NDLEA is a very, very well-known organ of government, and they've been hard at work. And today, I'm happy that we have with us the Director, Media and Advocacy, National Drug Law Enforcement Agency, NDLEA, Mr. Femi Babafemi. Femi, it's great to have you.
Very well, thank you, my brother.
And it's been quite a while.
Very well, absolutely.
That must be because you've been very busy. Because I was just scanning the press, and I see that there's been so much work that's been going on, so many seizures, and so much so that it prompted me to, I said I'd ask Femi when I see him that, give me an assessment of the extent of the drug problem in Nigeria. Is it a big one? Is it a medium one? Is it one that we're entirely, capable of, putting under?
No, let me tell you, there is no need living in denial. We have to be very blunt and frank about it. Indeed, it's a big problem. It's not, though it's not a Nigerian problem alone. Yeah, it's a global thing. But then here, when we go back to what we rely on as the statistics, the actual picture of the drug problem in Nigeria, we go back to the 2018, where the survey was actually conducted in 2017, but released in 2018, and that gives us a clear picture of what the drug problem in Nigeria looks like. And that, if you go into the details of that, you will discover that we have 14.3 million Nigerians who abused illicit substances the previous year, and that gives us a 14.4% prevalence rate. And when you look at that prevalence rate, globally, it's 5.6. And when you come to Nigeria, you look at 14.4. That's almost 3 times the global average. So that shows you, indeed, we have a big issue on our hands. And this actually captured those within the age bracket. The survey actually captured those within the age bracket of 15 and 64. So meaning that those under 15, with what we have on ground today, with what we are seeing today, even we have 7-year-old, 9-year-old, 10-year-old abusing illicit substances. Again, when you also have those, you also have those above 64 who are not captured then, who are also abusing this thing. So that gives us a very grim picture of what the problem. But the good thing we have to say is that following that, the release of that, survey report, we see the government of Nigeria actually coming up very strongly with measures and steps to tame and contend with the issue. And that's why today you have, it's all over the place. Everybody knows what the drug problem is, and everybody can see what the government is doing about it, with the lead agency, that's the NDLEA, leading the battle on all fronts. And I tell you today, as we speak, and not even, let me just say, as at our last figures put together at the end of 2022, within the first 2 years of General Marwa in the leadership of the agency, we've taken out of circulation 5,730 kilograms. That's 5,730 tons. That's huge. Just imagine what that volume would do on the streets in our communities. And let's even assume they successfully sold all of those. Just imagine what the money involved. As at our last calculation, we had over 500 billion naira involved. Just imagine what that would do in the hands of organized criminal groups, in an economy like ours. So they are able to do, and that's why we tried out everything we could to make sure that we cut access and the availability of these things by seizing them wherever they are, whether at our airports, seaports, land borders, or even deep in the forest. And I mean, NDLEA has been very proactive with that. In recent years, going deep into the forest where people were scared to go into before, because these are forests that you will need to trek 2, 3, 4 hours on foot to get them. You can't access them on motorcycles or through vehicles.
When you go into the forest, are these plantations for growing some kind of drugs, or is it, as we see on some foreign documentaries, where they put illegal laboratories to process, drugs?
Basically, this forest, a number of them in certain parts of the country are what you call forest reserve.
Okay.
Where these woods were planted and grown, but then these people have invaded those places and converted them to some other things. And again,
because they are reserves anyway, so people are not supposed to be going there frequently. You don't have any business there. They now seize on that.
They seize on that, now create some kind of militia, young men, arm them to guide the place so that nobody can come near. And in recent times, when we've had to go into some of those forests, we've had to, engage some of them with a gun battle. And we're glad that, we see some hundreds and thousands of tons of late from some of those forests.
Whereas this is highly commendable, it, however, is a known fact around the world. I imagine that one of the worst, how does one put it, one of the busiest countries in this regard doing what you are doing must be the United States of America. And documentaries state that, look, it's in spite of their successes in the air, coast guards, all sorts of, they say they are fighting a losing battle. Because as soon as you fix this, those guys are so organized, they replace it. And the problem, is it not, is that one, there's a huge demand for this. And then two, it's a very, very big money-making operation. So when you combine those two, people want it, and then there are billions to be made in it. Even America, the American authorities admit that we're not going to let up, but it's almost like a losing battle.
Well, for us, we know that's why if you look at the approach adopted by the NDLEA in the fight against this scourge, we don't just look at one side of it, that is the drug supply reduction, that involves the seizures, the arrest, the prosecution, and what have you. We go beyond that because, like you said, if there is no demand, there won't be supply. So we also go down to prevention first. When you can't prevent, then you go to demand reduction. That is talking about addressing those that are already, for instance, if we say out of we're a population of 200 million plus, and as of 2018 we had 14.3 million persons who had fallen into that category, abusing these illicit substances, meaning that we still have over 180 million others. So one demand reduction takes care of those that are already abusing, while prevention takes care of those that are not yet the majority. So we have, and that's why
I see some sensitization campaigns.
Yes, God bless you. I'm sure you will see some of that. And that's the whole essence of the launch of War Against Drug Abuse by President Buhari, precisely June 26, 2021, just to mobilize everybody, because we need to understand the fact that for this to work, like we are talking about because people keep asking me, but you keep arresting them, seizing this thing every day, and they are coming. The more you arrest, the more they come. Yeah, so that's why we let everybody know that, look, it's not about the NDLEA law, it's not about General Mara, it's not about President Muhammadu Buhari, it's not about any individual or any organization, but it's about all of us. And that's why we're deploying a whole society approach. What you are doing today, what TVC is doing today, is part of the whole process to sensitize these people, to let the people know about this, so that we all, in our own little corner, we all have our own spheres of influence. So in your own little corner, you have somebody to talk to about this thing. I mean, your own child at home, quite a lot of, I get so worried, so disturbed the number of times when parents call to say this is what we're facing, and by the time you analyze some of those issues, a lot of them are very proactive. They detect early, they discover early. They are very, they pay attention. But then, on the other hand, again, you have quite a lot of parents that don't even give a hoot. They don't really care. They don't care about their kids. So the situation would have gotten bad before they realize that, wow, here we are.
This is the situation.
This is the situation. And again, you also have some who, even after realizing the situation, that they have a problem on their hands, try to cover it because of, image perception, stigmatization, the social, so all of these things. So that's why we're going all out to sensitize the people through advocacy, on TV, on radio, through personal interventions, and that's why you would have seen all our commands everywhere across the country, down to the communities. Again, we work with non-governmental organizations, NGOs, civil society organizations, faith-based organizations, even including the media, to get this message down to everybody that we all have something to do, from the homes as parents, schools as school teachers, proprietors, all of these people, so that at those levels, there are different gatekeepers, there are different stakeholders who need to do certain things, who need to play certain roles, and they are by the time all of us are playing those roles, we would have discouraged quite a lot of these young people who get carried away by what they see on social media, or who get carried away by what they say their role models do. And so they are misled. So there are quite a lot of them that have conflicting messages in their head. So we need to really, really detoxify what they have up there and make sure that they get the right message. For instance, if you look at the issue of cannabis, quite a number of them believe, because they have been sold that idea that it is herbal, it is not harmful. Just about 2 days ago, I was with a friend, and he was making a call to his younger brother, a medical student, writing his final exam. And this guy, he was already getting suicidal because he was going to write his final exam, and he was thinking, how would I do it? The only thing he could do, he said he was advised to take cannabis, and that destabilized him, and he became suicidal.
A person as knowledgeable as being a medical student.
God bless you. So is that bad?
Now, on that point that you touched on, Femi, because this is not a small job, it's a humongous job, especially given the pool that people want it. And that's a horrible combination. When people want a thing willy-nilly, then there will be those who will say, fine, if you want it, we'll get it to you. It's a risky business. The price might have to go up,
why
whatever.
Everything.
They will do everything and anything. Now, in some areas of the world, we have our ways of going about things. Cannabis that you mentioned, because I'm going to come back to the scope of drugs. It's not just cannabis. In fact, cannabis is seen in some jurisdictions as a recreational drug.
Yes.
But it's like countries, and they don't have their minds made up. Take the U.S., for example. Some states it's illegal, and some states it's legal. Yeah. Some countries like Amsterdam, they say they've been studying it, and there's not much value in putting the limited resources they have to include that one, which is a nuisance. Yeah. So they want to deal with the other ones. Now, of course, Nigeria is not going to look at that. It's not looking at that yet.
No, even though there are concerted efforts by some people to push that through legislation, but we're very sure that we have the majority within those chambers of the National Assembly that will not allow this, and even the general public, because I believe our lawmakers would only pass, bills that reflect the interest, or in the best interest of our people.
I take it for granted that a body like NDLEA will be very up to date with studies, research that's going on all around the world on this concept of recreational drugs and findings that have come out of it.
Yeah, definitely we're on top of all of this. And that's why, you see, let's go, I'll refer you back to the 2018 drug report drug survey report. Out of the 14.3 million Nigerians that I mentioned, 10.6 million of them, a whopping 10.6 million abuse cannabis.
Okay. You use the word abuse in there.
Yes.
Because there's also cannabis for medical purposes.
Yeah,
there are also cannabinoid aspects of it.
Yeah,
I wonder what the attitude of NDLEA is to all of those kind of ideas.
Where we are at the moment, we have to be very clear about the dangers of using or abusing this substance, or cannabis. It is confirmed that when you take it, it leads or it causes psychosis, schizophrenia. Okay. There are reports, researches established.
So many negative effects.
Exactly. Now, if that is said, we have also seen that there is a strong nexus between the abuse of this and some of the criminal activities we see across the country.
Okay.
Now, if we say there is a strong nexus, because we have had to interact with those elements out there in the forest, in the bushes, who carry out these things, and even some of their victims, we've had to ask them what was happening there. And they've come out to tell us that indeed these guys are perpetually on illicit substances.
Okay.
Either smoking it, eating it, or injecting themselves with it.
Okay.
Two, those that had also gone into those camps, they have also witnessed this thing. Then those that have been arrested, talking of the criminal elements, after a few days, you have also seen some of them, because they don't have access to those things, they start...
withdrawal symptoms.
Yeah.
Kick in.
Exactly. And some of them have also come out. You have also seen in some of their confessions that they are not even afraid of lack of bullets, lack of food, but lack of drugs, illicit substances, because that is the fuel. Because, somebody with a clear mind will not do the kind of things that they are doing.
You know, this brings me to, we've been talking, right now, largely what you've been saying refers to cannabis, marijuana.
Beyond that, we have quite a lot.
So I was going to say, because those ones are seen as soft drugs in some jurisdictions or recreational drugs
but
in
because
some
it's
jurisdictions.
the most abused here, that's why we don't take lightly with it, and we know that it's the most accessible because it's grown here.
Okay.
Before, apart from the fact that it's grown
it's
here.
It's also imported, isn't it?
In large quantity.
You guys had a bust recently.
Or even up at yesterday, in our statement yesterday, we still disclosed it that, look, now those importing vehicles from Canada, it's not about the vehicles they import, it's about this Colorado. And these are synthetic.
What is Colorado? Okay.
Yeah, they're synthetic variants of or strains of cannabis.
Okay.
Colorado,
they're making it in the lab now.
Yeah. So, and these have, anything chemical. All of these things have, and you would have seen
so there's no way guys who patronize them will know what's in there, how safe it is, and there's the danger of serious injury.
A lot of them don't have an idea, so they just think, oh, we want to be high, we want to forget our issues. But then we ask them, the fact that you take this thing, for that moment that you seem to lose your consciousness, you forget about it, does that solve the problem? No. Two, because you are abusing this thing, now you are developing some other health or other problems for yourselves. Okay,
so you seek, you sort of what is it now? It's a therapy approach. You talk with these people.
Yeah, we engage them. We engage them, and that's the whole essence of our advocacy. Just to let them know that what they are taking, they may think they are having fun with it, but indeed they are damaging their organs. The consequences of some of this, the abuse of these things, await them. And that's why you see young people in their 20s, in their 30s, their organs are packing up. And we tell them these things, they are not good for you.
Okay.
And we need to emphasize that from the whole, across every strata of the society, we need to emphasize and let them know.
So you're going to continue to be as busy as you always have been, because, as you say, anybody thinking about looking at the herbal, non-addictive aspect of marijuana, as it is said, well, to match other jurisdictions, there would have to be laws saying this. You say that that's not going to happen.
No, not in our current situation.
Not in the Nigerian situation.
Because we don't have the same situation as what you have over there. Now, the strongest of their argument has always been that Nigeria will make billions of dollars from this thing. And we ask, as of today, I know because we're the one relating with these people directly, parents looking for rehabilitation for their kids and all those kind of things. Yeah. We don't have, the rehabs are filled up.
Okay, because there's a theory that, look, if you, those people that have decriminalized abroad, marijuana especially, they are reporting that it hasn't been what people might have thought.
No, it's not solving the problems. It doesn't decrease. I mean, crime rate has not been decreased. It's not down. It's not low. Okay. So what is the whole essence? And here, the strongest argument is this: it will be a boost to our economy. I will ask, okay, is it the money you are looking for, or the health of your people? Now, what sense does it make if you make $10 million from selling this thing, exporting it, and you now need $10 billion to build rehabilitation? What sense does it? I mean, we don't want to end up as a country of junkies.
You know, I want to keep track of the fact that we're talking right now about marijuana.
Yes.
Or what else is it called?
There are different variants. Loud, Colorado.
All of these are variants of marijuana.
Yeah, definitely.
As I said, some people, maybe they're erroneous or not, they call it soft drugs, they call it recreational drugs. And I want to separate it because I'm going to come back and ask you about the hard ones, the ones that are really killing, the ones that are addictive, because it is alleged that marijuana is not addictive.
It is highly addictive.
Okay. In the meantime, Reverend Dominic has come on the line. Good morning to you, sir, Reverend Dominic.
Good morning, Yuri. Happy Easter.
Happy Easter to you, too.
Happy start to your guest here, Femi. How are you, sir?
Very well, thank you, Reverend.
Well, I'm sure we'll be able to hear you a bit louder. Right now, we can't hear you, but that's not your problem. I think it's from inside here.
Can you hear me now?
No, not yet. But please carry on. We'll be managing until we get some volume.
What I want to say is this. I'm looking for an opportunity to congratulate Buba Marwa as the chairman of NDLEA. Marwa has done a great job, very great job, wonderful job. But the question we ask ourselves is this: why do we have this, kind of attitude in Nigeria? If you remember NAFDAC on the day of Dora NAFDAC was up there. Now NAFDAC have gone back to about 30 years back after this one left. Now the question is that after Buba Marwa, who are doing a good job with his team now, what is for NDLEA? That is by the side. And I want to say this, Yuri. I want to ask the Femi this question. Why is it taking much time to convict any person you catch on the drug? Drug is not financial crime. You have to go to bank. You need a witness. This man has drug in his hand. To confirm it's a hard drug. Why does it take time? And I asked this question by the police officer, ex-police officer, which is in their custody now. Our super court before. He has been almost in custody for about 1 year now. We're not seeing that trial. You know what I mean? What is it again? Why haven't you convicted that man within 1 year? Before the evidence disappeared. Number 3, I pass international gate, which is our monitoring every time to travel. If you pass through that gate, Yuri, and you see the security and NDLEA there, you will find it difficult that one pinch of drug will pass that door. But most times they pass. So the question I'm asking for me, how does it happen? If your men are not capable, how do this dog pass through our gate, especially international airport? Seeing the kind of security on that airport, we who are pastors, they will almost strip us naked. How does this dog pass there? Thank you. That's my question.
Thank you very much, Reverend Dominic, for calling in.
Okay. Thank you very well, Doctor, for
Reverend
Dominic, for the compliment and your message to your appreciation of what General Marwa and his team they are doing. We are all doing at the NDLEA. let me quickly respond to the first one, why it takes time to prosecute a drug case in the courts. Ours is to investigate, arrest, compile a case file, draft charges, take the matter to court, and also ensure there is diligent prosecution of these cases. And I'm glad we're doing all of that very diligently and effectively. And I also say that, honestly, don't let us forget that the judiciary is saddled with a lot of cases, not just drug cases. So they have quite a lot on their hands. And we're also glad that there is an amendment to some aspects of the NDLEA Act that will further strengthen the deterrence effect of the provisions of the law in this regard. And in regard to the case he mentioned, he cited, that's the unfortunate thing, especially when you have high-profile suspects. They bring all manner of tactics to delay and frustrate the process. But we're glad that the particular case he mentioned, quite a lot of their applications, bail applications, attempt to quash the charges, all of those have gone to appeal court and back again to the trial court. So as it is, I'm sure from next month again, that trial would continue again. We're approaching the end of that case. That's something very important.
Okay. There are other, how many more are there that you wanted? Because somebody else is on the line. So maybe you resume where...
No problem.
Let me bring in Mr. George, calling in from Ikeja. Good morning to you, Mr. George.
Good morning, Uncle Yori, and I greet your guest.
Thank you.
Uncle Yori, let me also commend General Marwa for the good job he's been doing. NDLEA became comatose before he arrived there, and we've been seeing what he's been doing. It shows that it is human beings that activate organizations, just like NAFDAC. We know NAFDAC was not known until Mrs. Akunyele came there, and we now know the difference. So let General Marwa please keep up the good work. I remember that in Lagos State, that he governed decades ago, people still talk about Keke Marwa. So we are looking for as it is now, Uncle Yori, is people who set standards for themselves when they are in governance. But it is the government that should be setting the standard. We see ministers and heads of MDA just doing what they like. That's not the way it should be. It should be the government that will set the standard. If you appoint a minister or a head of an organization, you set standard. And if that standard is not met within a probation period, you fire that person and put another one.
Okay,
that's what we expect to see from the 29th of May. That is how I think it should be. So congratulations to NDLEA. There may be difficulties. When you want to fight evil, you have to button up. It's not easy, but we are seeing the effort. That's what counts.
Thank you.
Good morning.
Thank you. Good morning to you, Mr. George. Okay, a number of issues that I wanted to bring up, but I'll go on a break first, so we won't have to interrupt you. And then please stay with us because we'll be right back. Okay, welcome back. And my guest this morning is Femi Babafemi, Director of Media and Advocacy, National Drug Law Enforcement Agency. And we've been, he's been giving us something of a background to the schedule, the nature of the schedule. Now, we spend quite a bit of time on what people refer to in other climes as soft drugs. We don't know any such thing. These are drugs that we have a zero tolerance to. So not soft, they're not soft. In people who are even saying that some of those drugs are not addictive, we've just heard from Femi that not so. That's not true. On the contrary. But here we are. I wanted to take this opportunity to say, okay, leave all those ones to one side, which we're going to come and deal with. Your latest operation or bust, or what should I call it? It's something about, as I recall now, a celebrity couple and a famous prophetess. When that broke, I was amused when even though as I was paying, but I was also amused when I saw on social media some people commenting that Hey, now you've brought all of these ones. You are mentioning names left, right, and center. And but when something like this happened in Ikorodu, when you found something in Ikorodu, we've not heard anything about that one again, implying that you are not being even-handed in how you prosecute these issues.
No, it's because I mean, if there's anything the NDLEA has also done very well, it's about opening up the operations of the agency and making available information every time. So we don't have anything to hide. We're not covering anything. Okay. We're not shielding
Gone
anybody.
Are the days of corruption in NDLEA.
No.
Those are old.
Those things are dealt with decisively. Okay. If there is any link of anybody to anything.
Because, sorry to interrupt you, somebody said something that I was going to pick up on, but I didn't want to disturb your flow. It was about, it was George, when George called in, before evidence gets missing. Now, I just noticed that aspect of his commentary.
Okay.
Can evidence get missing in NDLEA?
Well, but not in the new NDLEA. That I can tell you, because
so he knew what he was talking about in the old.
You see, I don't want to say that categorically because you must have evidence. Okay, you must be able to have. I mean, you must have evidence before you make such claims or allegations. But then, what I know is the fact that the measures put in place by the leadership, by the current leadership of it's extremely difficult for anybody to tamper with evidence. Okay. Because what are the evidence? I mean, the evidence itself is the drug seizures, the exhibits. And these things, they are housed in the exhibit rooms. The systems like not a single person has access to that place. Before you can access the place.
It's like a safe that requires multiple keys at the same time.
That's exactly. So it's just like a bank account that you have
so many different
signatories. So you can't access. Beyond that, there are other mechanisms in place that even you are here, for instance, let's say Lagos State Command. There is a unit within the agency that reports directly to the chairman called the Chairman Monitoring Task Force, Special Monitoring Task Force. And they are everywhere, but you don't know who they are.
I see.
So you don't even know.
Even NDLEA doesn't know who they are.
Don't know. They are within you there, but you don't know them. They only know
it's like an intelligence service
embedded within the system. So that has really helped.
You know, Femi, I'm being reminded that I've been keeping Mazi Okora for waiting all this while. Good morning to you, Mazi Okora, and happy Easter.
Good morning, sir. You're happy Easter. Good morning, my brother Babafemi.
Thank you, Mazi.
It's a pleasure. Well, there's something I want us to look into, this issue of fighting this drug. Shareware. I was asking some of my people around this. I said, where do you people take it? He said, shareware. This shareware that they derive satisfaction, how do you look at it? Now, frustration also contributes to all these things. Now, how do we stop all those things?
No. We don't know. We don't know what you mean by shareware. Did you say shareware?
Yes, shareware. Yes, that's when they feel that they have arrived. That is, they derive satisfaction in taking all this. Okay. Yeah. Now, you come to TV show. You see, when you parade these people on the screen every day, every Sunday, I call it every Sunday, every weekend you must surely get drug story from my brother, Babafemi, every Sunday. That one is basic, every weekend. Now, this TV show, don't you think it's another way of advertising all these drugs taken? Because when you parade people with all these people, in short, the Nigeria have programmed themselves that every weekend there must be show on the television about drug peddlers from one country to another. Don't you think it's a TV show? Because as why am I bringing this TV show? Because if you see when Jam was advertising students that they caught in exam malpractice at the stage now, I think they have stopped their case was to direct those things to police, not to come and parade people on television. Don't you think it's a show? And stop and start. I was very happy when I saw your men in one of these, I don't want to mention the place. They will just stop and search. That is people on KK motivation. But you should tell them, no matter how classical that vehicle is, they must search them. Not only KK, all the time. Everybody, when they are searching, they should search both Tom and Dick. And when you look at this issue of cabals, do you think that this issue of cabals, you could have tracked them? Because if you have tracked 70% of the cabals, that is why you see drug every day drugs, those who take these drugs in Nigeria, what are you doing? All these drugs you have recovered, what are you doing with them? Do you destroy them, or you package them, or you rebranded them, or what? I don't know. When you package, collect all these drugs,
okay,
what are you doing with them?
Let's give Femi a chance to weigh in.
It's very, very important. And the cabals, please, cabals, find the solution on how to destroy it. If you don't destroy the cabals, I bet you, although you will have time, you are doing a very nice job. But the question is how to destroy the cabals.
Okay, but I think by cabals, he must be talking
cartels.
about drug cartels.
Yeah, the barons,
and all the barons and all of that.
Yeah, okay. Where do we start from now? Do we start from him?
Yeah.
Okay, let's start from him because he raised a number of germane issues. One, the publicity of the arrest and what have you. They actually they serve quite a lot of purposes. One is to inform and educate the people as against what you think they are probably exposing people to some of these things. No, even if you don't discuss them on air like this, the social media is there. All the information, everything. That's why quite a lot of our young people, a lot of the young people don't even watch television. They go on social media. That's where they learn all of this is from. So we need to also create other platforms. Even though on the social media we have gone there, the NDLEA is there, and that's why we hold what we call Twitter Space every Friday, 3 to 5 p.m. To engage with the young people because they are there. That is where they are. They are a target audience. So we go there to give them counter information, the authentic information as against what they are consuming online that is misleading them. So that is that. Then again, when you see some of these things, it also provide deterrence. It's a deterrence for those who are into this thing that, look, you see your colleagues arrested today. What it means is sending a message to you that it could be your turn tomorrow if you don't back out. So those are part of some of the benefits of some of the things we do to educate the public, to inform the public, and also to deter the would-be offenders. That is that. Then coming to the cabal, I'll tell you that if that is the cartels now, if there has been another strong point of the activities of the agency in the last 2 years, I'll tell you it's about targeting those who call the cabals, the cartels, because more than ever before, the agency has gone after them. And in the last 2 years, I can tell you that we're taking out of circulation more than 40 drug barons. That is huge.
When you say take out of circulation,
that is...
Are they serving sentences? By what do you mean take them out of circulation?
Now, taking them out of circulation means they have been arrested. They are either, there are quite some of them that were mentioned in some cases now. Some of them are facing prosecution, they are facing trial in court. Some of them are facing trial on bail. Some of them are facing trial right from the prison where they go, prison custody where they go. But beyond that, we've been able to cripple their activities because one, they no longer have, because now, unlike before, now we don't just go after the drugs, that is seize the drugs, arrest them, deny them of their freedom, but we go after their assets, the funds money. They have in the bank. Billions of naira.
That reminds me of something you put out very recently. Did you say something like the authority, NDLEA, has applied to the courts to freeze 800 and something million naira?
Yes, we free everywhere, everything they have acquired through through the process of this criminal trade. We go after them and make sure that we deny them the benefits of their criminal trade. So we go after them, we go after the drugs, the exhibits, we go after all they have acquired, either the money in the banks or the properties they bought, their vehicles. So we seize all of these things. So that crippled them, that they don't have the means, they don't have the resources to go, and do this thing again. That's what I mean, taking them out of...
But they might have, not that they might, I'm sure they have international connections as well.
Yeah, you see, at that point, because they are already everywhere, it's difficult for them to operate. Not that it's difficult for them to operate that they used to do before. And having said that, again, I will also go... Okay, he talked about stop and search. That is one other thing that General Mara has also strengthened in the agency. That is going beyond those on the streets, because we also discovered that even some of these things that found their way into the country, they move them from one location to the other. And we discovered that over time, because of security checks on the road, some of them even go beyond taking them in their luggages. They plant them in the tires of the vehicles they drive. some plant them in the engine.
So the agency is up to all of these devices?
We made several of those seizures.
Okay. Elder Davis, apologies for keeping you waiting, sir. Good morning and happy Easter.
Thank you, Yorin.
Thank you. Go ahead, please.
God bless you, sir.
Go ahead now. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Yorin. I'm very grateful. What Babafemi is very correct. Nigerians have talent. What is more important is who gave them the power to do their job. Marwa is a man I respect. Marwa, yes. Those are one of the people we are talking about. When we are talking of Nigeria, Nigerians have the best brain in the whole Africa, even in the world. If we appreciate their efforts. We talk of people like Kawo when we talk of politics. We talk of people like Tinubu today when we talk of politics. Marwa you are seeing today because somebody in government gave him the power. When you have that power, forget about Kaba. Who is Kaba? Some group of people want to frustrate the efforts of somebody else. When people like Kawo were there, they were Kaba. They couldn't because you know what is good for the people. Just like Tinubu is coming in now. They're nothing like Kaba. Marwa, what he have done, he was in Lagos State governor. We know what he did. The Marwa you are saying, Keke Marwa today was named after him. When he came to NDLEA, before he came there was a mess up. Yes, today, he's one of the best in the whole world. American gave him an award.
Okay.
I so appreciate what he's doing.
Thank you.
And the man there, Babafemi, may God bless all of you there.
Thank you,
Amen. Thank you very much, Elder Davis, for calling in. You know, I want to bring in some other aspects. I know that there
was something Mazi Okorafor mentioned. That is okay. What we do with seized drugs. Because there was you also may ask something about the Ikorodu seizure and all of this tied together. So I think we need to clear that.
Yeah. Because that's what matter about. And then after that, you probably come back to your latest operation. In social media, I saw some accused. But you can't really take too much seriously on the social media. But they were saying that, now you're mentioning names. You never mentioned names in the Ikorodu situation.
Yeah, I think I'll wrap all of that up.
Go ahead.
This. Now, Mazi Okorafor, seized drugs, they are warehoused until the case involved is finally determined by the court. And when they are determined by the court, we go back to the court to act for the order of the court to destroy them. Okay. And the court gives an order to destroy them publicly. And when they are destroyed publicly, we invite members of the society. We invite the media, we invite the clergy, we invite traditional institutions, NGOs, CSO, everybody, including our international stakeholders, we invite them and they witness these public destructions. That leads me to the Ikorodu drug seizure.
Yes.
The cocaine, the 2.1 tons that was seized in Ikorodu, actually, that's the biggest that Nigeria has ever recorded. And that's why we had to approach the court soon after it was out of a total, we seized there a total of 2,139 kilograms. That's 2.1 tons, over 2.1 tons. And out of that, the court said...
Of cocaine?
Of cocaine,
okay.
Pure cocaine. Now, because we had to approach the court that, look, we have this volume. This is the highest in the history of the country. We cannot take risks because we know that from the investigation, from the intelligence that led to, a lot of people didn't know that that case was based on pure intelligence, and we worked with our international partners, especially the United States Drug Enforcement Administration, USDEA. They were part of the intelligence gathering and everything up to the point. That was why that operation was clinically done without any casualty. That was an international syndicate operating in that remote part of Ikorodu. But that does not mean that they did not have local stakeholders. For those who are conversant with this, is the way they operate, this international cartel operates, they have their foothold, have their own local stakeholders who do the local runs for them while they are out there in some other jurisdictions. So we followed all of this up to the point that we were able to mop up 6 members of this syndicate, including even a Jamaican.
Okay, that's in Ikorodu.
In Ikorodu. So there are people, I mean, there were videos, so it's unfortunate that much later I started seeing, even after we had filed, the matter is already before the court. The people involved are already starting trial. So it's not nothing hidden about it. So, but unfortunately, because because of politics, much later, we saw some people trying to, read political meaning or even attach somebody to it or all those kind of things. We don't do that game. Ours is pure professional game. And this thing, there was no way the NDLEA could have even tried to shield anybody because it wasn't something that was handled by us alone. We handled this with the USDA. So would NDLEA have tried to shield somebody and the USDA also trying to protect? No, they don't add up at all.
Peter, apologies to you. You've also been holding on for a while in Benin. Good morning to you, sir.
Good morning.
Please go ahead.
Good morning. Yes, good morning.
Good morning.
You see, this many thanks to NDLEA, but I will not sugarcoat matters. I probably will give Mawa 50 or 55. Why? Because you see, someone like me and most people have been involved in drugs from early stages, class 2, class 3, class 4 in the secondary school. All right. So what I think they should be doing, unless we're going to just be dealing with when they started taking the drugs and how to deal with the drug dealers, because drug dealers are going to be dealing drugs forever to the end of time. From the fathers of the drug dealers, they will hand over to their children. They will hand over. So that's going to keep on going on. But how you can prevent it from coming is if you don't have so much people wanting to consume. What I think the NDLEA, I just pray that you can tell Mawa what I'm telling you like this. What I think NDLEA should do is they should have programs yearly for children. They should go to the schools and let them know the effects, the bad things. They should educate them. Some children don't know. I started smoking cigarettes because I thought, it was an in thing to be a guy. That's why I started smoking cigarettes. From cigarettes, you go to marijuana. From marijuana, most likely you go to cocaine. So what they need to do is to they should go to the schools. They don't go now. They don't go. They should go to the schools from class 3, from JS3, SS1, SS2, SS3. Tell them about drugs and the negative parts of drugs, the things that will happen, that will affect their lives. At that stage, you might even cut off 50% of the people that are going to end up using the drugs. Because most people tell them, don't smoke, it's bad for you. Why is it bad for you? That's why you have to explain. I can't explain to my child that deep. But even though I used to be a former user of the drugs, I can't go that deep. But the NDLEA can go that deep and say, come, look, this is what it is. By the time they get to SS2, take them to the prison for a walk around the prison. Let them see how people are living there. This is where you're going to end up. I think that will solve the problem. As for Mawa, I'm not going to sugarcoat. I'll give him 55. He did well in Lagos, that's different. But for this one he's doing now, he's 55 because they are not overwhelming him.
Thank you very much, Peter, for calling in from Benin.
Thank you, Peter. I'm not sure if Peter started with us on this program, he would have actually gotten this information from our initial comments. I did say then that indeed we don't just face drug supply reduction or even demand reduction, we also face prevention, which is what he is talking about. And if he follows us on social media, you will see that
there are also programs.
There are all our commands across the country, including our collaborating NGOs, civil society organizations. These are people we work with to go down to the schools across the country. They're everywhere. Every NDLEA is everywhere. Now, if you follow our social media handles, you will see weekly we produce what we call NDLEA Weekly Review. It's just snippets of all our WADA activities, taking these messages to all the schools, communities across the country. We produce it in 5-minute video, which we share every Sunday evening.
So that is actually being done now.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. That's why I say if he follows us, he will understand.
But Peter's saying that, look, I'm not just talking, we've been there, done that, and he's out of it now.
Yeah.
He's
someone that can relate.
He's saying that he can relate to it, and he thinks that what you're doing, I imagine, can be intensified.
Absolutely. That's what we're trying to say is this. It's not just about the NDLEA alone. Even Peter, as somebody that has experience, somebody that probably has survived it, you have something to do. You have something to tell because you can relate well with this problem. So you also can play a role in your own little corner. We have quite a lot of Nigerians doing that in partnership. You can approach the NDLEA office closest to you in Edo State, either in Benin or in our area command. that, okay, when they are having programs in schools, you would like to go along with them, or even when you can organize, you can approach schools to want to talk to them about your experience and invite NDLEA to join.
Like a private sector initiative.
Yes, that's why quite a lot of people do. That's what is called a whole society approach. Mobilizing everybody to take ownership of it. You own it. It's not just about NDLEA, because this is beyond what,
it's more than government business.
Yeah, no, it's our business. God bless you. So we have to do it that way and approach it that way. But we're already doing what Peter is saying, even though we appreciate his comments and what he's saying very well. Okay.
Well, there's so much, and I don't want to start and not be able to finish this kind of we didn't get to one area that I wanted to go to, which is, having talked about the recreational drugs, so-called, I wanted to go to the hard drugs. We talk about heroin, we talk about cocaine,
methamphetamine.
Exactly. Crystal meth,
ice.
ice, those kind of things. But we don't have the time anymore now, and we're going to have to devote time to that, because hopefully those ones are not as prevalent as cannabis.
No, definitely. Cannabis is the most abused in Nigeria.
Well, and also the most available.
Yeah, because it's grown here. And people also still import them, especially the synthetic variants, what we call loud, Canadian loud,
So
Colorado.
People have to watch out. Well, I don't know that they even know that they are actually consuming synthetic drugs, which can be dangerous.
They don't know. They just believe they are consuming cannabis. They don't even know that some of these things are synthetic.
Well, I want to thank you very much for coming along, Femi.
Thank you.
It's an invaluable, conversation that we've had. Some sort of, given an inkling into the extent of the work that's going on. But when you come back, it can't be as long as the gap you left between now and the last visit.
Definitely.
Because we have to talk a bit more about this to keep it up in line with what Peter was saying, in line with what your objectives also are, to keep people informed.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Femi Babafemi, Director, Media and Advocacy, National Drug Law Enforcement Agency, NDLEA.
Thank you.
Again, happy Easter once
Same
more.
to you, my brother.
So there you go. That's our program. Please join us tomorrow for a fresh edition. I am Yori Folarin. Bye-bye for now.